Hey guys, great to be with you. I am on a video screen. I'm not with you in the room, although I guess I might be as well. The reason why I wanted to do this is because I wanted to free myself up to be able to be at different places at once and not have to do the same thing for like every group. So here we are on a video. Now this term we're starting a series that I think is really valuable and really important. And it's called Are You Okay? Essentially it's asking that question and open up that conversation for us to kind of talk about how we're doing and how we're feeling. And I want to just focus on one part of that question today. And it is the part of that question that says, are you okay? Are you okay? I don't know if you remember, I was reminded of this yesterday. There was an advert that went out like on TV and stuff for like Snickers chocolate bars, right? Basically what happened was some person would be having a bit of a mare and then someone would be like, you're not you when you're hungry, and like give them a Snickers bar and then they'd like transform into like a normal person and everything would kind of be fine. Well, I want to tell a story, I want to read from the story that's actually weirdly similar to that whole like concept. It's in the book of 1 Kings in the Bible, and it's about a guy called Elijah. Okay, and the context of the story is this: Elijah's gone through a bit of a struggle. He's gone through some things, some really kind of intense period of his life. Actually, what's happening is people are trying to kill him, and it's kind of traumatic and scary and difficult for him. And so what happens is these events that are taking place in life actually begin to affect his mental health. We're told in 1 Kings 19 that Elijah was afraid and ran for his life. When he came to Beersheba in Judah, he left his servant there. In other words, he kind of comes to this town on the edge of this massive desert, and he leaves his friend there, and he alone goes into the wilderness. He's struggling, so he isolates. He's struggling, so he goes away. The first thing that Elijah does is he separates. He isolates himself. He leaves other people and he goes away alone. And I just wanted to bring that out because I think for some of us this might be a difficult topic, maybe hard to open up. There's a tendency, there's a temptation to want to just deal with the stuff by ourselves and not bring it out in front of other people. I want to encourage you, the first thing that Elijah does wrong is he leaves his friend and he goes away alone. And I want to encourage you, as we look at this topic, to consider actually opening up a little bit, even if it's just a little bit, with those who are around you, because God has made us for community and for friends, so I encourage you to do that. But what we find out later on in the story is, he moves away into the desert by himself. He walks a whole day by himself. And he finds a tree and he sits down under the tree, and this is the lowest point of his life. He says, I have had enough, Lord. He says he sits down under the tree and he prays that he might die. I have had enough, Lord, take my life. It's a very low point for Elijah. This is the kind of maybe the lowest point of his life. And what we find is he's praying, God, look, I'm done. I'm finished. I'm over with it. I want it to stop now. And what does God do? We might expect God to rock up and say, no, get up and do this, or go here, or I have a mission for you. Actually, what God does is he just lets Elijah sleep. And then he kind of feeds him. It's like, you're not you when you're hungry. Here, eat some food. And an angel comes and prepares a meal for him, and Elijah eats it. And then what happens? Well, then Elijah just goes back to sleep again. And then what happens? Well, then the angel comes back and just cooks him another meal. And then Elijah is kind of given this kind of call to go and have a meeting with God, to experience God. So Elijah's in this low place mentally, and the way that God addresses it is by kind of addressing the fact that Elijah's not sleeping properly and needs to rest, and the fact that he needs to eat and kind of recover his strength. And then he also addresses it by calling Elijah into this place where he has an encounter with God. Essentially, to address Elijah's mental health, God addresses his physical health and his spiritual health. See, I believe that God has created you. I believe that he values you. I believe that he loves you. I believe that he wants the best for you. Wherever you are at, I believe that God cares for you. And he's created you not just as a person with a body to do stuff, or a person with a mind to be able to think stuff, but also as a person with this ability to interact with God, this spirit or soul, or however you want to describe it, this ability to interact with who God is. God wants us in relationship with him, and actually one of the things that I think is really important is knowing that God calls us to care for ourselves well, to value ourselves because he values us. And so I just want to kind of throw this out there and ask you this question, that when you're feeling down, when you're maybe struggling with stuff, it might be just extreme emotion, maybe even it's kind of anger and not sadness, whatever it might be. When you're feeling down, what do you do? How do you respond to it? We are created mentally, physically, and spiritually. And I want to suggest that for us to deal well with our mental situation and what's going on in our emotions, means that we consider what we can do physically and what we can do spiritually. And so I want to encourage you to ask that question. When you're feeling down, what do you do? Share it with the group, maybe have a think. Or if that's a little bit too much, ask the question, how do you change your moods? How do you change your moods? Get talking, get discussing. Thanks guys, I'll see you in a bit. I mean, I might be in the room with you, but anyway, yeah, cool.